Hey everybody, so this is the geometric applications to some of our rules with the exponents. When you're multiplying with the same base, you add the exponent, and then when you have a power raised to a power, we're going to multiply. So you'll see through with these geometric applications, we're going to be practicing with both of them. So the directions which are cut off that you can't see right now, but on your sheet it says here, find the perimeter and the area for each figure. So for number 16, we have a rectangle. So our perimeter for the rectangle, sure my pen is working here, I'll turn it on, okay. The perimeter for the rectangle is going to be adding up all the sides together, or 2 lengths and 2 widths. So you'll see here for my perimeter, we have 2 times your length, which is 12x, plus 2 times your width, which is 5x squared. So we're doubling the length and doubling the width. So in this case here, your perimeter, 2 times the 12x gives 24x plus, and then 2 times 5x squared gives 10x squared. 2 times the 5 gives 10, and we keep the x squared. Now at this point, the multiplying is done, so now you have to combine like terms. However, 24x and 10x squared are not like terms because they are raised to different powers. Therefore, this ends up being your perimeter, 24x plus 10x squared. All right, now let's talk about the area. The area of a rectangle is now length. My pen's not working. Is length times width. Why aren't you working? Hold on, technical difficulties here. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. I guess it's just up top. Give me a second. Let me erase this. Okay. Let's start over here. All right. So here we're going to talk about the area in this case. So my area is length times width. All right. So here I'm going to take my length, which is 12x, and times it by my width, which is 5x squared. Now here, everything is separated by multiplication. So if we showed that, it'd be 12 times x times 5 times x squared. So I want to put all my like terms together, multiply your numbers. So 12 times the 5 gives 60. And then you have x times x squared. Now remember this x here has an exponent of 1. So when you combine them, okay, so here's the rule. When you're multiplying the same base, we add the exponents. So that gives 60, x to the third. 1 plus 2 gives me an exponent of 3. So there's my area for the rectangle. So my distance around my perimeter is 24x plus 10x squared. And then my area, everything on the inside, length times width, gives 60x cubed. All right, now let's take a look at the triangle. We'll change our color up here, okay? All right, so with the triangle, when we talk about, we'll do perimeter first. It's all your sides added together. So side plus side plus side. So in this case here, you have 4a a squared b plus 10a squared b plus 3ab. So here we are just adding all of our terms. There's no multiplying. So in this case, all of your terms, in order to add them, must be the same. So 4a squared b and 10a squared b are like terms. So when I combine them, that gives me 14a squared b. Now, this other 3ab is not a like term with the a squared b because it would have to have the same exponent for a. Therefore, I'm done with my perimeter. So my perimeter for the triangle is 14a squared b plus 3ab. All right, now when we talk about the formula for the area of a triangle, remember that's 1/2 times base times height. So here I'm going to take 1/2 times my base of the triangle. So the base of the triangle is right here. That's the 3ab times the height of the triangle. Now remember, the height is always the perpendicular height, which ends up being this measurement here, 4a squared b. All right, now just like my area formula for the rectangle, everything is separated by multiplication. So I'm going to put all my numbers together. I have 1/2 times 4 times 3. Okay, remember, I can use the commutative property rearrange my terms, put them together. You have a times a squared. That'll go together. They're the same base. And then you have b times b. So I'm just rearranging all my terms and all separate multiplication. So here, 1/2 of 4 gives me 2. So it's 2 times 3 for my numbers, which is 6. When your bases are the same, you add your exponents. So that's 2 to the, and remember this is 1 plus 2 is 3, a to the third. And then both the b's have exponents of 1. So when we multiply them together, add their exponents, final answer is 6a cubed b squared. All right, the next one is another triangle that we're going to do here, okay? So in this case, it says, assume that the triangle is equilateral. Well, remember, equilateral means all the sides are the same. Now, the height is the 4m n to the fifth. The sides are the 20m cubed n to the fifth. And I'm going to do this one over here. Okay. So in this case, starting out with your perimeter, so in this case, it's all your sides added together. But if they're all the same, remember that we can also do this, 3 times one of my side lengths. And that's just going to be a little bit easier. So I'm going to take 3 times one of my side lengths, and that's the 20m cubed n to the fifth. Okay. Now in this case, we're multiplying. We have 3 of those. Everything, once again, is just separated by multiplication. So it becomes 60 m to the third n to the fifth. You're adding them all up together. So remember, you're not changing the exponents because you're not multiplying. You're just adding them. So that's your perimeter. Now for your area, just like we did in number 17, that's 1/2 times base times height. So 1/2 times the base, which is one of the side lengths, that's 20m to the third and to the fifth, times the height of the triangle, that's the perpendicular measurement, that's 4m n to the fifth, okay? Now here, everything is separated by multiplication. So I'm going to use the commutative property and the associative property and rearrange some things. So I'm going to put all my numbers together, 1/2 times 20 times 4. All my m's together, m to the third and m to the first. And then all the n's together, n to the fifth and n to the fifth. All right, so 1/2 of 20 is 10. 10 times 4 gives me 40. Now multiply with the same base, add the exponents, m to the fourth. Multiply with the same base, add the exponents, n to the 5 plus 5, yes, is 10. Not as a term there. So final answer is 40, m to the fourth, n to the 10th, okay? All right, let's take a look at 19 and 20 here, okay? 19 is a trapezoid, but notice it says here, just find the area, okay? So for the area of a trapezoid, just know that I'm doing it up here. That's 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2. So base 1 is the top measurement, base 2 is the bottom measurement, and then times the height. Okay, so that's the area formula. If we did perimeter, we just add up all the sides. But notice we don't have these 2 sides here, but we don't need them because they're not asking for that. All right, so here, 1/2 times base 1, which is 4x squared y, plus base 2, which is 7x squared y, and then times the height. Just like the triangle, perpendicular height, that's the 2xy. Now here you've got a couple different operations. We have addition and we have multiplication. So remember, PEMDAS is always here to help us out, okay? So first we have to do our parentheses. So I'm going to add my like terms here. Now they are like terms because they're both x is erased the second and the y is erased the first. So here 4x squared y plus 7x squared y gives me 11x squared y. And then we have times 2xy here, okay? Now, everything's separated by multiplication. So I'm just going to rearrange my like terms. So I'm going to do 1/2 times 11 times the 2. Those are all my numbers being multiplied. I have x squared and x. And then I also have times y times y. So the 1/2 and the 2 cancel, leaving me with just 11. Multiplying with the same base, I add the exponent, so it's x to the third, and then y to the second. So my area is 11x squared y x cubed y squared. Okay, now remember our units in this case, which are not giving me, all the areas would be squared and all the perimeters would just be the plain units. All right, then the last one, we'll do this one in green here, is a circle. So remember, the area of a circle is pi r squared, okay? So that's everything on the inside, okay? Pi times r squared. R is your radius, and I shouldn't have erased that because now I don't see what that is. Okay, here we go. All right. So here we're going to take the area. Make sure my pen is working. Change the green. That's okay. You can probably see it a little bit better anyway. All right, so pi times my radius. Now I'm going to use parentheses because notice this whole thing is my radius. So my radius is 3xy cubed. Now that whole thing is squared. Remember, our radius is squared. So that square, so like kind of like what you did yesterday with your notes, means it goes to every single term, everything you have two of. We don't have two of the pi, we just have one of them. So I'm going to bring that down. So 3 gets squared. What are we doing here? 3 gets squared, x gets squared. I don't know why I keep touching that. And y cubed gets squared. Everything gets squared. So my area ends up being pi. Now 3 squared, remember it's not 3 times 2, but 3 times 3, which gives me 9. Then I have x squared, everything's a multiplication, and then this is what we were doing yesterday. Power to a power, we're going to multiply, so that gives me y to the 6th. Now I'm just going to kind of clean up my answer a little bit. All your constants go first. So 9 and pi are both constants, but you can leave it like that, or you can type into the calculator, but I'm fine with 9 pi times x squared y, and that ends up being our area for the circle. All right, so now what I want you to do is numbers 22 through 26. Same setup, follow what I just did with you, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, I'll see you guys.